Google stock has climbed more than 60% since the dip in April. But it's still very undervalued for many reasons. In this video we're going to look at the main reason why it's undervalued. We're going to compare it to their competitors, and we'll look at the growth, what we could expect from them in the near future. Now the main reason why Google stock is not higher right now is AI fears. People are thinking ChatGPT is gonna replace Google search. Google search is the largest revenue source for Google the company. Therefore, I don't want to do anything with Google stock. But that statement is not true. That's not how it goes. Now let me start explaining to you this. Now first of all, our searches are not equal. If I want to get hard-boiled eggs and I ask ChatGPT or I search on Google how long do I need to boil the eggs for, nobody is making any money out of that. Other example, I want to change my car tires. I want to find out what are the closest repair shops or car tire changing places, and I'm gonna see how good they are based on reviews, for example. And honestly, that is infinitely more important to Google or ChatGPT. And what the future is gonna look like is, for some things you're gonna use ChatGPT for, and for some things you're still gonna use Google. And for me, that is already how I use ChatGPT and Google. Now let's continue. The market share for Google search out of all the searches is still over 90%. And yeah, that is one factor, and we're going to talk about this later a little bit more, and we're going to look at the revenues as well. But out of context, Google has YouTube, Google has Google Play, they have Android, they have Google Cloud, and they have many other startup-like business parts, for example Waymo. And those other sources will give Google more growth percentages each quarter, each year, that they could possibly lose from services like ChatGPT because of people Googling less stuff. Now let's continue. We're gonna return on this later. Gemini. Gemini is actually pretty strong and competitive. Now in my personal preference, I would still use ChatGPT over Gemini right now. But large amount of people will still either way use Gemini, even if it's not technically the best. But we are stock market investors, we are looking at the future. The best future AI, large language model, will be the one with the best data. And it's no secret that Google has the most and the best data. And if they're competing with ChatGPT, they will not give all the data to them. For example, ChatGPT can Google stuff right now. And if it's a problem for them later, they could just not allow that. So yeah, ultimately the limiting factor for all AI models will be the data that they are trained on. And the money for research and development for Google is totally not an issue. So let's continue. Before that, I would like to remind you, if you like the video and subscribe as well. I make stock market videos every week. Well, I try to, but not actually every week, but yeah, I'm at least trying to. Now let's look at the valuation for Google stock. But before that, let me state you some facts about the latest quarter. Google was number one in profit out of all the companies in the world. They were number two in gross profit. and they were number 4 in free cash flow. Pretty much the most important metric that you should look at as a investor in stocks. You can see in the graph that Google was obviously trading higher at a higher multiple compared to the average for S&P 500, but these past years it's starting to get cheaper and cheaper, and right now it's cheaper than the average of S&P 500. So let me ask you a question. Should the world's most profitable company be trading cheaper than the average of S&P 500? Think about it yourself. Now, in my opinion, the closest company that you could compare Google is Microsoft. You can see that the revenue is similar, although Google is like a couple years ahead. The free cash flow is basically the same. Some years it's higher for Microsoft, some years for Google. You can see that the 5-year stock performance was really similar up until this point, maybe because ChatGPT came out at this point and the stock got cheaper compared to Microsoft. Now the balance sheet is obviously better for Google. They have 3 times smaller debt. They have $100 billion in cash. And the margins are slightly worse for Google, but that is fine since their revenue is proportionally larger. So, what are the differences in valuation? Drum roll please! It's not even close. Microsoft has a PE ratio, price to earnings for those who don't know, of 29. Meanwhile, Google has 18.4. So if you would look at this, you would think, oh, Microsoft is making a lot more money, lots more money. They have greater growth prospects in the future. But do they? Think about it yourself. And just look at the net income for Google stock. Right about here, ChatGPT is coming out. People are starting to use it more and more. Nobody is using Google search anymore. But what is going on with the net income? It doesn't even change it. It's going as high as it has never been. Sorry for my bad English, by the way. But yeah, net income is doing absolutely terrific. And this graph just proves a great point. There are so many market conditions, there are so many obstacles, but Google continues to prove that they can adapt and continue to grow in any conditions. So, let's look at the latest quarter income statement. This, as you can see, yes, the search, Google search, is still by far the largest part of Google's business. And ChatGPT a year ago was very popular, and it's still very popular, but the search business grew 12% year over year still. Okay, YouTube is growing 13%. It's fine. ChatGPT is not a threat to YouTube. Okay, fine. Google Play grew 20%. So it's growing faster than Google Search or YouTube. It's already, surprisingly to me, higher than the whole of YouTube's income. Interesting. But look right now at Google Cloud. It grew 32% year over year. It's right now larger than whole Google Play, and it's larger than the whole of YouTube. That's crazy. So, if you think that ChatGPT is gonna destroy Google search advertising, even if you think that the year-over-year growth will decrease and become something like 8% or whatever. All these parts of the business are gonna turn the overall income higher still. Okay. Yeah, so the net profit is absolutely massive just in one quarter. So in summary, AI is not gonna stop the Google's growth. They even have Gemini potential. It could potentially even expand them even more. The stock is cheap and the company is on rails. Nothing is stopping Google, as you saw in this income graph. So make your own decision about what are you going to do about this information. Do your own research. This is not a financial advice. Check out my other videos. Subscribe because I try to make videos weekly, and like the damn video. Bye.